Carowinds is one of the fastest growing theme parks in the Cedar Fair chain, which is no surprise since it is located in a city that has seen a ton of growth in the last decade, Charlotte, North Carolina. This park is where you will find top-notch coasters such as Intimidator, Afterburn, Copperhead Strike, and Fury 325. In today's video, we will take a look at what type of roller coaster could be added to this already impressive lineup. Could we see an RMC remake of an old wooden coaster? Or maybe something taller and faster than anything we've ever seen in the Carolinas? Find out as we reveal our speculations for Carowinds' next coaster. Hey everyone, it is Cullah Hale from Destination Thrills, and we are back with another episode of Next Coaster. This time we are heading east to Charlotte, North Carolina to speculate on the new thrill machine that could come to Carowinds. Now, Carowinds has been a bucket list park for me for quite a while now, and I really want to add this to the list of parks I will visit this year. In fact, I have this park listed as 7th on my top 10 theme parks every thrill seeker must visit in 2020. I will link that video in the card above if you want to check out the full list. But it is pretty obvious that Carowinds is a bucket list destination for many enthusiasts, and this park looks to continue to add to its growth. This is a big reason why I wanted to add this park in the Next Coaster series, and now that Copperhead Strike has had a full year in operation, I think it is the perfect time to speculate on their next big coaster. So let's take a look at some factors that we use to help make our predictions. First, we examined the current lineup and looked for some gaps. As you can see, they already have the stand-up, invert, hyper, and giga models from B&M, plus they have a multi-launch coaster from Mack Rides. After that, there is a pretty big drop-off in coaster quality with some of the other older rides in their lineup. A couple things that Carowinds is missing are a modern wooden coaster. Currently, Gravity Group, RMC, and GCI are leading the US market for new wooden coaster additions. Carowinds is also missing some of the gimmicky steel coaster models, such as the dive coaster, wing coaster, water coaster, and spinning coaster designs. So these could be gaps that Carowinds looks to fill in the near future. We also took a look at manufacturers that Cedar Fair has been working with recently. Mack Rides, B&M, Gerstlauer, RMC, and GCI have all been working on roller coasters for Cedar Fair parks in the last few years and are certainly contenders for Carowinds' next project. I would also keep an eye on manufacturers such as Intamin, who have made a resurgence recently with newer, more reliable coasters and are working on the Pantheon coaster coming to Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I would also watch out for S&S, who might actually have landed a project with Carowinds' sister park, King's Dominion. Now, Carowinds saw the first Mack multi-launch coaster in the chain, so it wouldn't surprise me if their next project is from a new partner with Cedar Fair. Finally, we are going to have to look for a coaster model that will leave the biggest impact. Carowinds likes to go big. Just look at Intimidator, Fury 325, and Copperhead Strike. These additions were attention-grabbing, high-dollar investments. So we need to look for a product that can go big. Something that can claim a certain record, or have a first-of-its-kind element. RMC and Intamin really come to mind when I think of those WOW coasters. Now, before we get to my picks, I just want to state that I will be leaving out the potential floorless conversion of Vortex. This has been a popular way for parks to repurpose those uncomfortable old B&M stand-up coasters. I think it is likely we will see a floorless conversion of Vortex as early as next year, because this would be just a train modification and not a brand new or significant track modification. We did not want to count it as a brand new coaster. Therefore, we are keeping it out of our predictions. Alright, so now it is time to unveil our prediction for Carowinds' next coaster. First up, we have the B&M dive coaster model. So far, the B&M dive coaster has been added to 2 major Cedar Fair parks in the last 5 years. Valraven at Cedar Point, and Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland. I think in the next 5 years, we will see Cedar Fair continue that trend by adding a dive coaster to their next major theme park, Carowinds. As we saw with Yukon Striker, a record-breaking dive coaster can certainly gain you some media focus, as the gimmick of being dangled momentarily before a 90-degree plunge raises the anticipation and fear of the ride. I think Carowinds will break or tie a record with this project so that it can market the coaster as record-breaking. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to claim the dive coaster inversion record as well. We also know that Cedar Fair loves to work with B&M, and a dive coaster is the most likely choice out of all of the options B&M currently has on the market. Carowinds already has a flying coaster, so unless they take out Nighthawk, I don't see a B&M flyer coming next. Also, with many contracts for new coasters, there is typically an agreement with the manufacturer that they won't build a coaster of the same model within a certain amount of miles for 15 or 20 years. I have not been able to confirm if Wild Eagle at Dollywood will impact Carowinds' ability to build a B&M wing coaster in the future, but it is certainly a strong possibility. This is why I believe that if a B&M is selected, they will likely choose a dive machine model. With that said, I do think a B&M is likely, and that is why I'm giving it a 35% chance of being Carowinds' next coaster. Moving on to option 2, we have one that I've been back and forth on, and that is Rocky Mountain Construction, also known as RMC, giving Hurler the Iron Horse makeover. Now, we saw this recently with the other Hurler at King's Dominion being converted to Twisted Timbers back in 2018. So, we know Cedar Fair has done it before. I haven't had the chance to ride Twisted Timbers yet, but the community tends to speak favorably of this conversion. Plus, I think a wild RMC hybrid focused on high speeds, intense pacing, and snappy elements would be the perfect addition for the park. Intimidator and Copperhead Strike give you that rush in a smooth, slower pace experience, so I think they need something a bit more out of control, and that is what RMC hybrids do. Now, there have been rumors going around that RMC and Cedar Fair might have a broken relationship because of the issues Steel Vengeance experienced in its opening year. But honestly, this is just a rumor. I haven't been able to find hard evidence out there that suggests that RMC wouldn't work with Cedar Fair again. If anyone does have a legitimate article showing otherwise, please leave a link to it in the comments below. Many have pointed to the fact that Cedar Fair hasn't purchased an RMC since their first 3 in 2018. I think the main reason for this is that Cedar Fair wanted to see how these coasters performed and how these hybrid conversions impacted their attendance. So I don't think that RMC is done working with Cedar Fair, and I believe it is certainly possible for an RMC conversion of Hurler in the near future, and why I'm giving it a 20% chance of being Carowinds' next coaster. Alright, moving on to our third possibility, we have a wooden coaster from Great Coasters International, also known as GCI. As I mentioned in the open, Carowinds could use a modern wooden coaster in their lineup. One manufacturer that has added the newest wooden coasters to the chain is GCI. They provide a low-to-the-ground, fast-paced experience with sudden twists and drops that have you feeling out of control. This would provide different sensations than their towering B&Ms. I think Carowinds could go for a record like tallest, fastest, and longest wooden coaster in the Carolinas to help boost its clout. I think a solid GCI Woody has a shot at being a fan favorite, as most modern GCIs have a fairly smooth layout, which many are not used to with wooden coasters. I think the big question mark surrounding a GCI edition is, will a new wooden coaster be a big enough draw to attract attention and boost attendance? Mystic Timber's GCI at Kings Island didn't seem to have the massive boost that the park was hoping for with that investment. So this could be one factor that might hinder a GCI from coming next, but I think there is a possibility, especially since GCIs have a smaller price point than a coaster from B&M. That is why I'm giving the GCI wooden coaster a 20% chance of being Carowinds' next coaster. Now, in these videos, I love to give a fantasy option, and for Carowinds, I always feel like there is one coaster model that could put this park at the very top, and that is a Stratocoaster from Intamin. Now, I know this idea sounds crazy, as the hydraulic launches on older Intamin Stratas have been maintenance nightmares for parks like Cedar Point and Great Adventure. So why on earth would Cedar Fair want to add another one of these? Well, recently we have seen Intamin move to an LSM launch, which has proven to be more reliable. Red Force, for example, achieves a launch speed of 111.9 miles per hour, sending riders up 367 feet in the air. Building a LSM launch coaster that goes 400 feet high would certainly be an attention-grabbing roller coaster. It would be only the third full-circuit coaster over 400 feet in the world. It is these types of rides that capture your attention. A coaster like this would certainly take Carowinds to the next level when it comes to thrills, and its coaster collection would start to be mentioned among the greats. Now, obviously, the cost of a modern strata coaster would be huge, and with Cedar Fair's recent history with Intamin roller coasters and their questionable reliability, I am not sure if that is a gamble the company is wanting to take, especially when they can gather enough attention with a reliable, high-capacity B&M coaster. We haven't seen Cedar Fair add a new Intamin roller coaster since I-305 at King's Dominion in 2010. So I am not thinking that this is the most probable option, which is why I'm giving the Intamin Strata coaster a less than 1% chance of occurring. However, I think such an addition would take the community by storm if it happened. So these are my picks for Carowinds' next coaster, but you might be wondering, how soon could we see this coaster open? Well, with Copperhead Strike just opening in 2019, and the history that Carowinds opens a new roller coaster every 4 to 5 years, I think the earliest we will see this coaster is in 2023, but likely 2024. Now that I've shared my predictions, I want to hear from you. Which coaster models do you think Carowinds could add for their next coaster? Leave us your thoughts in the comments below. Now, if you like this series, I have plenty more episodes already released on my channel, including a video of Dollywood's next coaster, Cedar Point, and Magic Mountain. So if you would like to check out those episodes, I will link those videos in the description below. I really appreciate the interest you have all shown in this series, and please continue to send me suggestions on which parks you would like me to make predictions for. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Destination Thrills, the destination for all the latest theme park news, speculations, and content. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Cullah Hale. Have a good one.